O great Pharaoh, king of Egypt, may you live forever.
Yes, get on with it. What did you find out?
Well, your majesty, we still haven't been able to figure out how he's done it. But in the 9 plagues, this man Moses seemed to be systematically attacking everything we Egyptians hold sacred.
Yes, of course. I've been so busy stepping over frogs and cleaning up locusts that I've failed to notice. He started with the river Nile. We worship the river Nile as a god.
Yes, your majesty, and the frogs and the gnats and the other animals that we Egyptians hold sacred.
But why is Moses doing this?
So that you will let his people go.
I know that. I'm not talking about that. Of all the things he could do to try to convince me to let his people leave Egypt, why pick on the things that we hold sacred?
It's not just that they're scared that he chose them, but they're the things we Egyptians fear the most. Our folklore is filled with references to the uncontrollable power of the river when it floods, and the diversions of the previous plagues of frogs, gnats, and locusts. This is why we worship them as gods, to appraise them. This man Moses seems to know a great deal about our history and our folklore.
Yes, of course. There's nobody among the Jews who knows Egypt better than he does. If he hadn't run away to Midian 40 years ago, he would be king of Egypt today instead of me. But you still haven't explained what the Jews are up to. What's this business about the lambs?
The lambs? Yes. Well, I can tell you what has been told to me, your majesty. They're talking about another plague.
Another plague? What plague is left? Moses has exhausted the list of animals that we fear.
They're talking about a Passover.
A Passover? A Passover of what? Birds? Bats? Yes, that's it. It must be birds or bats next. Or maybe both. It's just about the only plague he hasn't perpetrated upon us. But what do birds or bats have to do with lambs?
All we know is that every Jewish family has to take a young lamb to live in the house for the last week as a pet.
A lamb as a pet?
Yes, but the last I heard from Goshen was the head of each house is now slaughtering his family's lamb.
Slaughtering it? But why? That makes no sense. Why become emotionally attached to the lamb and then kill it?
We're not sure, but fortunately for us, this religion of theirs always works in patterns. We think that this ritual is a repeat of a legacy of one of their ancestors, a man named Abraham. He was commanded to sacrifice his firstborn son to their God. But at the last minute, a wild ram was substituted for his firstborn son.
I don't see the connection.
We think there's going to be a sacrifice of firstborn sons again.
What?
We think that by slaughtering a lamb in advance, they won't lose their firstborn son in the Passover.
There's that word again. Passover. What is going to Passover? Is there anything in the legends of Abraham about birds or bats?
Not that I can find.
We've got to find out what's going to Passover.
Or who?
Who? Are you saying we may not be talking about birds or bats?
Well, in another legend about this ancestor of theirs, Abraham was involved with angel of death who passed over 2 sinful cities and rained down fire on them.
That was no legend. That really happened. The ashes of Sodom and Gomorrah are still reported by travelers from Canaan to this day. We have the strongest army in the world, but we have no defenses against fire from the sky. Can't we do something?
Well, you could let the Jews leave Egypt.
No, Egypt is the greatest nation in the world. If we let our slaves tell us what to do, we will be a laughingstock for the world. No, we will not let them go. The Jews belong to Egypt.
But what about the sacrifice of the firstborn son to their God?
I am Pharaoh, king of Egypt. I am their God. They have no other God but me.
Yes, your majesty.
Go. Take my family and put them in the wine cellar. There's no way fire from the sky will reach them down there.
Yes, your majesty.
and put extra guards around my family, just in case the Jews try to kill my firstborn in the name of their God. Go.
Yes, Your Majesty.
We have survived 9 plagues and Egypt is still the strongest nation on earth. We can survive the Passover of a few birds. Those Jews will learn who their God really is.
O great Pharaoh, King of Egypt, may you live forever.
I thought I told you to go and fortify my family.
It's too late, Your Majesty.
Too late. What do you mean it's too late?
The Passover has already happened.
What do you mean it's already happened? I didn't hear any birds. I certainly didn't see any fire falling from the sky.
Nonetheless, Your Majesty, my firstborn son is dead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so is yours.
My son. Oh, no.
Every firstborn son in all of Egypt is dead.
My son, the heir to my throne, is dead.
Yes, they're all dead.
What about the Jews?
I'm told that the reason they killed their pet lambs was so that they could smear the lamb's blood on the door frames.
I don't understand. How?
When the angel of death passed over, he spared the firstborn son in every house with the lamb's blood on the door frame.
So, there really was an angel of death.
Yes, and if we had only known about the power of the blood of the lamb, our sons would be alive.
Go tell the Jews they must leave Egypt.
But you said...
I said I was their God, but I am no match for the great God of Israel. Go, tell them to leave my land.
Yes, Your Majesty. Based on a play by Bob Snook, Conditions for Use. Do not sell any part of this script, even if you rewrite it. Pay no royalties, even if you make money from the performance. You may reproduce and distribute this freely, but all copies must contain this statement.